Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today TV. I'm Sakshi Batra and this is Market Today, a show where we'll help you understand the latest cues from the day street, starting from the benchmark index moves to sectoral action and all the stocks that are buzzing the most in trade today. We'll discuss all of that with an expert to get you also the opportunities that you should trap in the current market setup. But first up, a quick check as to how the markets are doing at this point in time. Remember, yesterday the markets had a weak close after 3 days of a winning streak, led by losses from the global market cues and the softening stance which we saw across the globe following the US Fed rate hike pause. But this hawkish pause is what dented the sentiments. But the markets seem to have bounced back quite smartly today. 18,757 currently for the Nifty. It's up by 70 odd points. About a 0.4% of a jump can be seen here. 225 points jump for the Sensex, 63,143 for this one too. So both the benchmarks are actually hovering about 0.3% higher in trade. Among the mid caps also the momentum continues to take shape. In fact, the small cap 100 index is leading the show today with over a percent gains, half odd percent gains coming in for the Nifty mid cap as well. 35,000 has been seen getting crossed on the Nifty mid cap 100 index today. Now, among the other sectoral indices, I think barring the IT sector, rest all of the Nifty sectors are up in the green. The Nifty Bank has recovered sharply from yesterday's sharp losses. About 0.75% of gains can be seen for this one. All the constituents, financial services, private and PSU banks are up in trade. The FMCG stocks are just slightly up by about 0.3% odd. We're seeing momentum also continuing in the auto space, but some of the other sectors that are actually leading the show, you should definitely look at, financial services. That's up by over a percent. So that's leading the stocks momentum today. The PSU banks up by 1.3% odd. The private banks. So the banks have recovered quite sharply from yesterday's trade. Pharma continues to gain its ground. Half odd percent gains coming in even today after that 1.5% move yesterday that we saw. Apart from that, the metal stocks are also shining brighter, about half odd percent gains coming in for this one too. Among the top gainers today on the Nifty pack, you will spot names such as HDFC and SBI Life. So the life insurance companies are moving higher. Dr. Reddy's, Bajaj Finserv and UPL. Now, these are the other stocks that are making, handsome gains, about 1.5 to over 5% gains that can be seen. On the downside, you have Bajaj Auto, Eicher Motors, some of these two-wheeler names from the Auto Pack, TCS, Wipro, HCL Tech from the IT Pack dragging the sentiments today. But time to welcome our guest on the show. Mr. Vineet Bullinchkar joins in from Ventura Securities. Welcome, sir, and thank you so much for taking the time out for this discussion. We've seen a smart bounce in the markets today, but what is it that you're looking at in the markets, and do you think now the trend can continue now that the markets have had the time to digest the negative sentiments that emerged from the US Fed commentary?
So, the US Fed commentary has been very encouraging, and I call it encouraging because a pause simply indicates that unless the data gets really bad,
Yeah.
the Fed is not going to hike rates, and they're going to try to maintain status quo as much as possible.
Okay.
Okay, because it's against them to raise rates, right? So, keeping this in mind, I think the Indian markets have been rallying behind these moves. And barring for the DII selling, if it had not been relentless, then we would have been already been scaling new highs. But I believe that today's session could be a key decider, and if we close above significant levels, so that level
Yeah.
of 17,770, 80 is a kind of a crucial psychological level. If we close above that, I think we'll definitely see much better rates in the
Right.
as we enter into the June expiry.
Right. Now, when we see, a lot of buzzing stocks in trade today, especially a new entrant we are seeing today, IKIO Lighting has made a stellar debut. It's listed at a 37%, 38% premium to its issue price of 285 rupees. Remember, the stock got listed at 391 rupees today, against the issue price. And we've seen that in the unlisted market also, there was a 99 rupees kind of a premium that the stock was commanding. And even now, if we see, there's, continuous momentum that you can spot on this space. Of course, the 607 crore IPO was with a fresh issue of 350 crores and an offer for sale for 90 lakh equity shares as well. Your own thoughts on how do you assess this company? Those who had got the allotment were lucky enough to see this kind of a premium listing. What should they do? And does it make sense for fresh investors to look at the stock despite this kind of sharp move now?
So I think the stock is fairly richly valued as we speak today. It's almost 56 times on trailing numbers. And I believe that you know profit boofing to the investors who have been lucky to get the shares, they should book their profits. And it is my opinion that you should try to enter the stock a little at lower levels, okay, in case you are bullish on the stock. Having said that, the lighting division and the LED lighting division that it is, has got premium clients, and they're also into the ABS refrigerant piping system, which have got reasonable export business. So I believe that the company is on a good footing. Last year they did 50% increment in revenues, and slightly lower growth in the bottom line. But I believe that this stock looks promising, but I'm sure that I would like to buy it at much, much lower levels.
Okay, okay. Buying at lower levels would be at least something that you'd be looking forward to, but at these, it looks like it's a richly priced stock at this current moment. Apart from IKIO, another stock that is on my list, watch list today is Wipro. Now, Wipro shares have turned X-share buyback, and in fact, it is the record date for the same as well. In fact, that means that investors who held Wipro shares up until yesterday would be eligible to participate in the buyback starting today. And what is your own expectation this time around, and what would you advise investors? Should they tender their shares in this current buyback?
Absolutely, one should tender their shares in the buyback and book profits, and switch from Wipro and other IT stocks into domestic themes, because the situation in the US market is really, really getting ugly. And if you were to go by what the recent news was on Infi, where the Dutch major is looking to do it, go to it by themselves instead of relying on third parties. So sentimentally, it's quite negative. And Wipro has been among the big five stocks, has been one of the weakest in terms of earnings. And I expect this stock to sell off. So I would advise investors to stay away from IT stocks at least for the next 2 to 3 quarters.
Okay, stay away from the IT stocks at least for the next 2 to 3 quarters. In case you've held on to Wipro shares, it could be a good opportunity for you to tender your shares and gain that 14, 16 odd percent kind of a premium that you would get from the current levels on this space as well. We've also seen four other buybacks from this firm before also, Mr. Bulinshkar. I mean, in fact, the last buyback that we saw 100% acceptance from retail investors. In the last four share buybacks, the acceptance ratio stood in the range of 50 to 100% odd. For this one, what is your own sense? How much of the retail investors would actually be willing to go ahead and participate?
I think again, it would be a very high number, citing the negative sentiment for IT stocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Mr. Pulunchkar, there's another theme that's been, at least coming on top of most of the analysts I've been speaking to, and that's the defense space. I have discussed this with you also before, and why the stocks are again in focus is because of the Prime Minister's visit to US slated for next week. And there are multiple deals that are expected to be signed and announced officially during this visit as well. There's the deal on the drones and also on the fighter jet engines manufacturing in India that we can expect over here. In fact, most of these stocks, even today, like Mazagon Dock is up by 9% odd, HAL is up 2.5%. These all stocks, most of these stocks are also trading at their 52-week high levels too. Your own sense of how should one really approach this entire defense space? Which are the best stocks to really look at? And, in case this is a theme that one should track for going forward from here, which are the best stocks that one should lap up?
So I think all these stocks are richly valued on FY25 basis. They're up
Okay.
almost 23, 25 times. Their
Okay.
ROEs are just a shade about 10%. So you know, and the order books are very, very rosy. They are multiple year order books. So it's a little quixotic for people to get into. Should you buy these stocks because the valuations are very high, okay, and yet the order book and the compulsions of being the defense industry is very strong. But there are some interesting ideas from the top line, apart from the top line, which look to be very good proxy plays for the defense market. So one of these I like is solar energy. That is one which is a explosive based company. It has given fantastic returns ever since its listing, growing plus 20% CAGR in earnings. That is one stock that you should look at. Secondly, there's another stock which recently uh, did its investor meet. That
Okay.
is PTC Industries. This
Yeah.
company is under the radar for investors. It's got very tiny order book, but I believe that over the next few years we are going to see a sizable scale up. Not PTC India, it's called PTC Industries Limited.
Yeah, yeah. I think this is the
It's
wrong share.
3,000.
PTC
Yes,
Industries is what
yes,
sir is talking about.
30,
Yeah,
37, 35, 3,700 all the
yeah,
rate.
yeah, yeah.
So it might appear optically very expensive, but if investors would buy small and hold long, they would see some very handsome appreciation from this stock. And this stock is slated to be a multi-bagger in my opinion.
Okay, a multi-bagger stock that you can watch out for, 3,700 rupees currently hovering on PTC Industries, but lots to look forward to. 3,745 now. It's about 0.4% up in trade, a very strong momentum in the last few trading sessions alone that we've seen, and it could be a multi-bagger going forward from here. All right. With that, many thanks, Vineet, for being with us on the show and discussing such interesting insights with all our viewers. Always a pleasure having you with us on Business Today TV. Let's quickly look at how the markets are also looking like at this point in time. About 200 points up for the Sensex, 63,119. Looking pretty stable at this point in time as far as the momentum is concerned. 18,748 currently for the Nifty again, 0.3% of an upside for this one. So the market's looking in a better shape done yesterday. And how will the second half of the trading session, especially the last 2.5 hours, really pan out for trade as we close the week as well, is something that we will continue to watch out for. Do stay tuned with us onto Business Today TV to catch all the updates from the world of business and stock markets. Until then, many thanks for tuning in.
To talk about Prime Minister Narendra Modi's big state visit to the United States, we're joined in New Delhi by the US Ambassador to India, Eric Garcetti. Mr. Garcetti, welcome.
Thank
It's
you.
fantastic to see you in person. All of us in India have been waiting for you for so long, so it's
Thank you.
really great to have you here.
Well, it feels like home.